Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Now this is a bit of a follow-up on my last video last evening where we talked about the civil service changing the figures, changing the outlook on what happened with the minimum pricing unit of alcohol, and basically saying that there was, from all the studies shown, it had basically no effect, but they were putting that it had a massive effect. And it was showing that these change of figures that they were pushing this alcohol minimum unit pricing scheme and hailing it a success had led to record, ODs in other products from the corner boys and all that sort of thing. There's another little report released today, and this is showing that actually this minimum unit pricing of alcohol, not only is it increasing the number of deaths from those products we discussed, the pharmaceutical related deaths, but it's actually having zero effect on alcohol deaths. And indeed, the figures released today go to show that alcohol deaths in Scotland have risen to the highest number in 15 years. So this policy clearly isn't working. It's having a detrimental effect on the Scottish drinks industry. It's harming the normal people who do not have a problem with drinks, and it's actually increasing the deaths from other relatable issues. And I think it's time that the minimum unit price of alcohol was scrapped, that this thing that Nicola Sturgeon was so proud of is abandoned, because it is quite clearly A, unfit for purpose, B, a failure in terms of doing what it promises to do, and C, has led to far more deaths from other products. So I think basically it needs to be consigned to the dustbin of history. And we'll take a look at this report, see what's going on. Here goes. So SNP shamed as alcohol deaths in Scotland rise to the highest number since 2008. That's 15 years. And yet they've had for several years now this minimum unit price, and they've put the price up, in some cases extremely high for like the strong ciders, in an attempt to drive it down. It has failed to drive it down, and indeed it's led to record drug deaths. It's leading to poverty amongst families where at least one member does drink, because they're having to fork out even more money, which is taking money out of the budget and removing food from the table of children. It's harming just normal people who just fancy a bottle of wine or something every now and again. And of course it's massively damaging to both the Scottish drinks industry and of course the Scottish retail industry, who are having to charge this on, and so seeing a reduction in what they can possibly sell. So it is an absolute failure on every single metric. And this is Nicola Sturgeon's idea of a good plan, something that she says she's proud of, and has damaged so many people, because of course it will do. Anything that woman comes up with is always going to be toxic. All she's doing is removing joy from the world. She's like the anti-Christmas, isn't she? Anyway, there were 1,276 deaths from alcohol in Scotland in 2022, the highest such figure since 2008, and 5 years since the minimum unit price was introduced, which was seen as the policy to stop these fatalities. You cannot apply a one-size-fits-all policy to a situation where each individual person has individual reasons for doing what they're doing. It is a basically one-on-one treatment. Target the drinkers, target the problem. Don't just blandly pass a bill that just sort of punishes everybody for the needfulness of a few. The SNP has been shamed after it was revealed that deaths in Scotland from alcohol-specific causes rose to the highest number for 15 years in 2008. This is despite Scottish Government ministers boasting about the effect of minimum unit pricing. Well, are they going to boast now that it has no effect, and taken in the round with the increase of drug deaths is proving to be absolutely disastrous. Figures published by the National Records of Scotland found that the fatalities from booze increased by 2 in 2022, with 1,276 deaths attributed to drink and 31 more than in 2021. The SNP executive claimed that hiking up the minimum cost of alcohol to 50p would stem the crisis, but it has had no effect. And now they're even consulting on increasing it to 80 pence, which will still have no effect except to impoverish people even further. The latest statistics will be concerning for the government as alcohol has overtaken drugs as a cause of death in Scotland. They also predominantly, only just 1,200 deaths from drugs. They also predominantly affect men more than women, as males account for 2/3 of fatalities. Female deaths did also increase by 31 to 440, with the number of alcohol-specific male deaths unchanged at 836. So men consistent, women growing. The rate of death has also jumped up from 22.3 per 100,000 to 22.9 per 100,000 over the last year. I mean, this is a huge number from one problem, and yet you're applying a one-size-fits-all fix, if you like, a band-aid over the whole thing, rather than targeting the individuals. The individuals are the ones with the problems. They're the ones that need to be sorted, not the public in general. The public in general don't have a drinking problem. Daniel Burns, head of vital event statistics at the National Record of Statistics, said, looking at long-term trend, the number of deaths from alcohol-specific causes fell between 2006 and 2012, but has risen since and is now about the same as the 2010 levels. In 2022, the average age at death for females from alcohol specifics was 58.7, and for males it was 60 years dead on. The alcohol death rate was 4.3 times higher in Scotland's most deprived areas compared with the least deprived. That's not a surprise, is it? I mean, this is Gorbals, Swallies and things, isn't it? It's just when you got nothing, you'll drink to get out of that mindset of having nothing. It's opportunity, it's environmental, it's educational as well. There's all sorts of problems related, but these all ultimately come from poverty. And by putting the prices up, you're just increasing poverty because these people are going to drink regardless of the price, and that's money you're taking out of household budgets that would otherwise maybe spent on children's food. But these idiots in the SNP and in government don't think like that. They've got no humanity about them. They've got no empathy. Drugs and Alcohol Policy Minister Elena Whittam said more work is required to reduce alcohol-related harm. Every life lost is a tragedy, and my sympathy goes to all those affected by the loss of a loved one through alcohol. You have no sympathy. You are the most unsympathetic person. He said, while we need to better understand the reasons for this increase in deaths, I will do all I can to reduce alcohol-related harm. Target the alcoholics. Don't bash alcohol. Alcohol is not the problem. Alcoholics are the problem. They have a mental issue and they need that to be sorted. She says we'll continue to work closely with alcohol and drug partnerships and the third sector to address this public health priority backed by substantial investment. And if you believe that, I have a camper bus to sell you. I'm coming up. So there we are. Nicola Sturgeon has all these things that she claims that she's proud of. The baby box, that was a failure. And she said she was proud of minimum unit alcohol pricing. And as we've just literally seen, that's not only a failure, it's made the problem worse. Why does this woman seem to think it's all right to be proud of things which harm people? It's because she is an absolute sociopath. And that's probably why, and allegedly why, the COVID time, which enabled perhaps her policies maybe to have killed 5,500 people, may well very much, I think, in my opinion, have pleased her exceedingly well, possibly. I've covered myself, I think, but you understand what I'm saying. She's a psychopath and a sociopath. She's mad, she's bonkers, and failure is her king. Because she mustn't just have a process. She must have this thing where she says, I've done this and it is good, and everyone all praise Nicola. And then it comes back and it ends up being disastrous. Absolutely disastrous and costing the lives of many people. And she sees this as virtuous. What is actually wrong with her? Strange woman. And I shall stop there. I want to thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope this one has earned your subscription. And until next time, stay safe, stay well, and if you have a wee drink, enjoy it, but don't go bonkers unless you really want to. Bye.